First, we team up with William Woolard for all the latest information on day 4 of the RAC in our rally report.
We can only do photos here. James?
It's been a trying day, I'll be honest. It's had a few Italian moments.
For sure, you keep pushing, you keep driving and keep the rhythm, you know, it's the easiest way. And
Welcome to RAC Rally Report from day 4 of the Roger Albert Clark Rally. We've moved into England. We're based in Carlisle now for the last 2 days of the event, and this will be our last live evening programme, which is gutting. I can't believe 4 days have gone that quickly. We will have more live action from the stages for you tomorrow, and of course that ceremonial finish back here in Carlisle to find out who will be spraying the champagne. We'll also have a very special bonus RAC Rally Report tomorrow evening, but it won't be live. Thank you to everybody who's tuned in this week, sent in your photos, your thoughts on the event. We feel like we've experienced this adventure on behalf of you as well as ourselves. Hello to Chris Slater, who's been joining us, of course, 1971 British Rally champion. What a legend. And also Bob Gibbons, who messaged today to say that our coverage has inspired him to bring a Mark II Lotus Cortina out on next year's 2025's Roger Albert Clark Rally. Apparently it's a very nice tarmac spec Mark II Cortina, which needs some preparation to take on this grueling challenge. I tell you what, if Bob Gibbons comes out in a Lotus Cortina Mark II on the next Roger Albert Clark, I can't do this. I'll be too busy ogling at that. Anyway, coming up in tonight's RAC Rally Report, we will have highlights from day 3 in Scotland, from those icy stages north of the border, with all of that drama that we had yesterday. We'll also have more of your photos and videos as well, and we've got some really good ones to share with you, and they're coming through as I speak. We'll have some features of cars, some more rally car nerdery, and some behind the scenes with our crews and some of the personalities from the Roger Albert Clark, including Tony Jardine, who needs no introduction and will be giving us a bit of an update on how his adventure has gone this week on the RAC. First up though, here is that roundup of action from day 3 in Scotland on this year's RAC Rally yesterday. Day 3 of the Roger Albert Clark Rally would once again see shake-up from the start as far as our leaderboard was concerned. But after taking the lead on the rally on the previous day, it would be Oliver Solberg and Elliot Edmondson still setting the pace and holding on to that lead throughout the third day of action. That lead will be made a little more comfortable with the loss of Austin Price and Rodri Evans. Sadly for the pair, they were having issues and will be losing oil from the Escort, as you could see from the smoke on the second stage of the day. That left three-time event winners Marty McCormack and Barney Mitchell picking up the position that was left and stepping into those shoes, chasing down Solberg, moving into second. And that will be a big part of the results in a marathon event like this. For Jason Pritchard and Phil Clark, it would be third. They lose a little time with a small off on the morning loop of stages. Nothing damaged, just 30 seconds lost while the spectators got them back on the road in true RAC rally style. A little drama for Seb Perez and Gary McElhaney would come in the form of a broken radiator, but the Danasport team would have it all in hand, getting the car sorted before it became an issue on the stages, and they lie in fourth place for now. Chasing down that screaming Stratos, though, will be the Escort of Cathan McCourt and Liam Moynihan. They'd be seeing that 32 seconds between them as a challenge to see if they could gain a position going into the next leg of this rally. Among the drama on yesterday's stages in Scotland was our two youngest competitors, James Rudd and Oliver Foster, in the Nissan Micra in the Open Rally, retiring due to engine failure. You may remember we caught up with them in last night's RAC Rally Report, and we promised if they managed to get back out into the event, we would catch up with them. That junior engine was promptly fitted in the Micra, and they were back out on today's stages. And as promised, we managed to flag them down at the end of Kershup Stage 2 this morning for a chat about how their day had gone. Earlier on in the RAC Rally, we caught up with this pair, James Rudd, Oliver Foster, when the engine had gone on their former junior rally car. It's back to junior rally car spec with the 1 litre in. Proper spirit of the rally, this. You got the engine back in, you're back out enjoying yourselves. This is your second run through this stage, and you've got big grins on your face, both of you. How good is it to be back out?
Oh, it's brilliant. We were a bit bored yesterday. We're thinking, right, we need to get this engine sorted so we can get back out and have a play. But no, it went a lot better that time. First one with that icy, we just couldn't get no grip.
And a word for the team, because they got the engine in and you were done quite early on.
Yeah, massive thanks to the lads. I gave him a little hand. I thought I'll give him a bit, of enthusiasm and drinks round and all that, but no.
I think the first round's on you at the end of this rally. James Rudd, Oliver Foster are back in the RAC Rally and they're enjoying their adventure. Great to see James and Oliver back out in the rally, and a true story befitting the spirit of the Roger Albert Clark Rally. I'm sure you'll agree. Now, how about a bit of rally nerdery? Yeah, I knew you'd like that. I know you enjoyed the feature with the Starion Turbo last night. Tonight we feature a car which has actually been on our special stage coverage for years. It's been in the Roger Albert Clark many times, and it's a car that is so awesome, and we've spoken about so often that we've almost overlooked it this year. But don't worry, we absolutely haven't. I'm talking about Theo Bengry's Opel Ascona, one of the best looking cars on the Roger Albert Clark Rally, and a car that deserves a bit of attention. The Opel Ascona was one of the last two-wheel drive cars to dominate the World Rally Championship, Walter Röhrl taking his to the 1982 world title. The first time Theo Bengry drove an Ascona 400 was on the 1982 Manx, where he came 8th overall. Bengry would go on to achieve some impressive results in the car, namely a podium on the 83 Tour of Mull. And despite moving on to a Peugeot 205 GTI in the late 80s and working his way up to WRC machinery in the early 2000s, Bengry's Ascona affair would be reignited in 2009 when he returned to his roots. Theo's first Roger Albert Clark experience would come in 2013 behind the wheel of a Mark II Escort. But the trusty Ascona will be back in 2017, and Bengry would go on to contest the 2021 event before arriving in Carmarthen on Wednesday evening to add number 4 to his CV, with long-term friend and co-driver Les Forsbrook alongside. The car is a real crowd pleaser with its handsome square styling and wide arches. But I wonder how many of those watching by the side of the stages know just what heady heights this car and driver have reached in the past. Now, it's not just rally cars that float our boat. here at the Roger Albert Clark Rally and at Special Stage. We quite like service barges as well. So when that Safari spec Toyota Land Cruiser rolled into service on Thursday with the Safari spec 240Z Datsun of Nick Mason, we knew we had to have a look around it. And once we'd done that, we knew we had to give you a little look around that service barge and a little look at what a Safari spec crew, a crew that, let's not forget, has done the actual Safari rally in East Africa 9 times, carries in their service barge, you know, just in case. Rallying is a team sport, and one of the most important parts of the team is the service crew, particularly on a rally that lasts 5 days, because not only have you got the crew that have got to get the car ready here in service, you've got management all over the country, all over 3 countries this year on the Roger Albert Clark Rally. And we thought we'd give you a little show around Nick Mason's Safari-esque service area, because these guys are normally used to being out on the East African Safari, and it's fascinating how well set up and how much kit they carry on the service bar. So just have a look at this Toyota Land Cruiser, which, as you can see from the big fat tyres, is designed to get to wherever the crew might be when they're stuck, if they're broken down or if they're off the road. And it's a real adventure, just like the Roger Albert Clark when you're doing the Safari. And of course, this Datsun 240Z is one of 3 cars that's in our Safari class on this year's RAC. So they've got everything here. Normally there'll be awnings at this side, there's fuel tanks today, but basically Nick describes it as anything that, well, could stop the car finishing the rally needs to be in here. Suspension parts down here, compressors down here, legal compliance parts, indicators and lights, because on the East African Safari you're knocking things like that off and you have to be legal, you have to get the car legal. Now everything you do, you have 2 hours on a Safari rally to basically work on the car on an evening before it has to go into Parc Ferme, and then in the morning you've got 1 minute to get into Parc Ferme, start the car up and get it out. Any time over and above that 2 hours service time on an evening, or that 1 minute to start the car and get it out of Parc Ferme, basically gets added to your stage time. So you can all of a sudden start racking up the minutes. Something simple like a puncture on that 240Z basically could be rally over. So in the back of the actual rally car is a compressor and everything there to fix things like punctures, fix things like a non-starting car, a spare distributor cap, spark plugs and things like that. Anything that can just make sure that you can get that car out in a minute. It's fascinating. Not quite as stringent in the service area here, but you can just see how much stuff is inside this car. Blocks of wood for if the car's stuck in the sand. Everything you need, spare alternator, and that's not dissimilar to any of the service crews and any of the service barges that you will see around the service area here at the Roger Albert Clark Rally. We're in Walters Arena here for the service area on day 1, and there's a lot of action going on, but I just thought we'd give you a little look around this one because, you know, 9 Safari rallies in, these guys know what they're doing. And by the way, they're not on pace notes. They're doing the rally on the road book because that's what they do on the Safari rally. And Nick was just telling us with a big grin on his face that, having been told he's bonkers for doing that, he just drove past a load of people that were like, well, use the pace notes, that's what they're there for. And they were at the side of the road and he was still going. He's quite happy with that. He's enjoying this Roger Albert Clark rally adventure his way. And as you can see, these guys have done a few rodeos. I've seen the way some of you lot mess about when you get in the cars ready to go back out to the stages, putting your jackets in, filling the car with snacks and drinks, bottles and all manner of things. If you had just a minute to get your car out of Parc Ferme, sort any issues out and get to the time control, I think some of you might struggle. Now, earlier in the week we did have plans to bring you a bit of a video diary from personality and rally driver Tony Jardine. Unfortunately, with retirement on the first day, that didn't exactly go to plan. But Tony has sent us a bit of an update on his RAC rally adventure. So we thought we'd share with you some thoughts from Tony from earlier in this week's rally.
Yeah, it was 2 miles in. It's probably one of my shortest ever rallies. We just lost power and then the car started sounding like an old tractor. Heck of a noise. And eventually we ground to a halt and it didn't look good. I thought the engine had totally gone, but it seems from what they were looking at so that there's a problem with the cylinder 1 and it had actually blown out the whole spark plug and broken part of it, which the guys are still trying to find at the moment, and that was it. But eventually we did get towed out, and eventually they've put another spark plug in and it's been driven back here, but there's a big remedial job going on behind me. The only thing, Tom, I can say is if there was any recompense at all, it was that we got to see the Stratos and we got to see Meek.
The good news is Tony Jardine did get that Hillman Avenger back out, and he also sent us this really cool time-lapse of a management service by the side of the road. Just check out how organised this team is. And by the way, they are 100% cucumber sandwiches on that table. Now, we've had drama on every single day of the Roger Albert Clark Rally so far, haven't we? Almost every single stage has thrown up something new for us to get our heads around and get our teeth into in telling this story. And the very first stage in England on day 4 this morning was no different. Here's a quick recap of what happened when our crews tackled Killer Kielder for the very first time, first thing this morning. We have said it every day so far, but it's so true. Day 4 certainly did throw a spanner in the works with yet more drama when it came to the results. The first miles in the Killer Kielder complex wouldn't take any prisoners. A number of our crews going off the road and either retiring or spending a lengthy amount of time in those notorious Killer Kielder ditches. Thankfully for Oliver Solberg and Elliot Edmondson out in the lead, it was still see them gaining an advantage on the results. They got through the opening stage with no problems to report, extending that lead now to an impressive almost 4.5 minutes. That lead now over this man, Marty McCormack, Barney Mitchell alongside. This pair weren't going to throw it away by chasing down the leaders unnecessarily at this stage, but they were going to maintain a good pace and be there should things change up ahead. There doesn't seem to be any luck, if not bad luck, though, for Jason Pritchard and Phil Clark. They get a puncture in this morning's opening stage, having to pull over and change it, and as a result, losing a handful of minutes. The pair really weren't having much to smile about this time out. That misfortune, though, of course, would move Seb Perez and Gary McElhaney up to 3rd. And the prospect of seeing a Stratos on the podium of this rally almost 50 years on from the last time we saw that with Sandro Minari was something we were all getting excited about, especially Dad Steve, who has persevered with the car for years to get it to this point. A good result would be just reward for a lot of hard work, blood, sweat, tears and more to develop the car. As we said, the stage this morning would be tough for some, and while many didn't even make it past our cameras, some did, and then even decided to stop there for a bit more screen time. Very creative, like David Hopkins and Richard Wise, putting the car off the edge of the road, needing some manpower to get it back on again, and no doubt using all of their wine gum supply to pay the spectators off. And they wouldn't be the only ones. Conrad Boss and Jeff Crabtree would have their second off of the rally, putting their escort a little further off the road and needing a few more people to get them back on the stage again. Former British Historic Rally champions Ben Friend and Cliffy Simmons would also become a victim of the Kershaw stage. They'd lose around a minute when they got stuck. Spectator help once again to the rescue. They end the stage in 6th place overall. And for Ian and David Evans, it will be a trip down a bank off the side of the stage. Remarkably, they were still going and still looking pretty good overall, ending the stage in 8th place. Very lucky to get away with a bit of a tussle with the Killer Kielder ditches. So much drama in just one stage. We'll have a recap of action from the rest of today in tomorrow's bonus edition of the RAC Rally Report. Now, tomorrow our crews tackle the final day, and it is no mean feat what they have ahead of them. They have, of course, that 39-mile stage, the big one, through punishing Pundershaw. They're going to be in this area of Kielder tomorrow. But what's the weather going to do? Here's Abby with an update.
So the final day of the Roger Albert Clark Rally then, and arguably potentially the worst. Certainly a soggy start. There'll be a bit of spray on the roads first thing tomorrow morning, but that rain clears away, leaving the afternoon a mix of variable clouds, sunny spells and occasional showers, quite breezy though, and cold. Highs of 6 or 7 degrees. Have fun, stay safe.
Thanks, Abby. Now, our competitors are on their way back from Carlisle as we speak, so we'll have a full roundup of results and action in tomorrow evening's RAC Rally Report special. Tomorrow you'll also be able to enter a competition to win a model of Seb Perez's Amigos Lancia Stratos. Don't miss that. Super cool. Well done to everybody, by the way, who's been downloading propaganda and jeweled my feed on social media. Has never been so full of people downloading electro-pop, obscure music from the 80s. But I'm all about that. It's what I came here for. You have been sending us in your photos, and we've loved that. It's become our new favourite thing, actually. We've been going through the day. Has anyone sent any photos to the WhatsApp? We haven't been able to get near the phone at times. You've been sending us that much. Videos from the stage, and we've included some of those in our coverage this week in Fan Cam. So thank you if you've sent something that's made it into the show. But more than anything, we've loved watching you and your families enjoying this rally, whether that's stage side, whether that's watching at home. And here are a few of our favourite photos from the last, well, I say 24 hours. They've been coming in while we've been working on the show. So, thank you so much for sharing your passion with us, because as you can see, we've enjoyed sharing our passion with you. How cool are these photos? Even Mal, one of our former cameramen at Special Stage, got in on the action and showing his support for Jason Pritchard as well in that newly purchased rally jacket. Very nice, Mal. It's not quite as retro as mine, though, is it? Maybe Jason Pritchard needs a retro range for future RAC rallies. That's all we've got time for in tonight's RAC Rally Report. This is our last live evening show, but as I say, we will be live throughout the final day tomorrow. Myself, Phil Bramwell and Matt Cotton once again, culminating in that finish in Carlisle, when we will be crowning our 2023 winners of the Roger Albert Clark Rally. And we'll have that special, not live, RAC Rally Report tomorrow evening with a full roundup of what has been an incredible adventure. Thank you for tuning in today and for the last 4 days, and thanks for joining us tonight. We'll leave you with that music.